In one of the first units, we talked about getting ideas for research by thinking about things that are interesting to us and by questioning existing information. We'll build upon those ideas as we think about additional sources of research ideas. The results of empirical studies can be a fruitful source of ideas for research, and we'll work with that idea for our association project. In some cases, the findings of empirical work create questions, either because of a variable that wasn't studied or because we want to ask, what if? I hope those are pretty obvious sources of ideas. In some cases, we'll also find contradictions between different studies, which prompt us to ask which one's more valid. Similarly, we might question if there's an alternative explanation for the findings, prompting us to conduct similar research with additional variables. Non-empirical articles and theories provide inspiration for research by providing ideas to test. Directly or indirectly, these types of work make claims about the relationships between variables, claims we can operationalize. Research is frequently classified as being either basic or applied. Basic research is conducted to generate knowledge for the sake of knowledge, while applied research investigates practical problems. In looking for an illustration for this slide, I found the cartoon in the blog entry linked in the notes. After pondering the cartoon for a moment, I realized how complicated it can be to sort out whether a project is basic or applied. At first glance, it would be easy to think the caveman was doing applied research. In some ways, it goes back to the intention, though. Remember that the intention drives what we report in the results. His intention seemed to be to see what happened if you rub the sticks together. His intention was not to find a way to create fire, or identify how many times he had to rub the sticks to create fire, or identify the type of sticks that would catch fire the fastest. Those would be applied questions. So, how does this lead to ideas for research? Sources of applied ideas might be pretty straightforward. It's usually not hard to identify problems we can investigate. When we think like psychologists, there doesn't tend to be a shortage of basic ideas either, as we're often asking why something is the way it is. Not unlike the way kids ask why the sky is blue. As a side note, the title of the blog entry was "Does Basic Research Drive Out Applied?" and it was posted January of 2012. That question is the inverse of what I usually see. Often we worry with what an emphasis on practical, applied issues will drive out basic research by changing priorities for funding and publishing. We started with an idea that Beth Moreling, who writes about in research methods, calls the journal-to-journalism cycle. Only in this case, it was something reported by journalists that led to the idea as I saw news reports about the MTV stress poll. We used the findings from other studies, including our own, as a source of ideas for our association project. That said, are we working on basic or applied work? Pause this presentation and look at those definitions before you move on. We're considering a very practical topic, and many of the articles we've read have been applied in that they've looked at how we reduce stress. So far, though, our work has been basic. We've just described the variable. An association study could be more applied, but we need to be cautious in making too many assertions about solving problems based on relational data. We can't say that one variable caused the change in the other variable, so we can't say we have a definitive solution to the problem.